G'day there guys, it's Connie here from Marky Industries and we're back with some more stories from Reddit. As always, if you enjoy these videos, be sure to hit like and subscribe, and also the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Alrighty, let's get right into it. Alrighty folks, kicking things off on relationship advice. This one was written by user Extra French Toast and it's titled, "My boyfriend is trying to be a streamer and it's hard to explain to him that it won't happen. I know this is a bit lighter than what this sub is used to, but I don't know who else to tell this to that doesn't know him. Me and my boyfriend have been together for 5 months, roughly. For Christmas, one of my gifts was an Xbox. A while back, I was reading something out loud to him from some gaming news site, and I mentioned that Ninja makes something like 500k a month on Twitch. Since learning this, he has since wanted to become a streamer. Now every time he plays a game, he streams it. I stated in my title that he's trying to become a streamer, but he really isn't trying at all. He's just streaming what's on his screen from his Xbox with no face cam or even a mic. He said to me that he's really shocked he doesn't have many viewers. I tried gently explaining to him that streaming and YouTube is all about your personality, to no avail. He's also really camera shy and doesn't even have many pictures of him over the years, to the point where his mother gave up on trying to get him into family photos. So I don't understand how being a streamer would even work for him or how he thinks it's a good idea. He also sits very quietly muttering an occasional F-bomb as he plays video games. The popular streamers he's trying to emulate have a natural humour and commentary, and he just doesn't have it, if you know what I mean. He even mentioned that I should start streaming because I'm pretty okay at some games. I laughed it off and said I have no interest. In a past relationship I've been called negative, so I didn't want to just crap all over his parade. For some background, he is in school to be an architect and has a good union job and gets paid pretty well, so it can't just solely be a money thing. This week I was doing errands, and he said he was going to pick up his laundry and the groceries for me to cook dinner before I get there. When I did get there, he was sitting in his room in boxes streaming for no viewers, and the laundry and groceries still hadn't been picked up even though it had been 6 or so hours. This really ticked me off, but I didn't say anything. He doesn't usually play video games for that long, but now it's all he does in his spare time. We have a trip to Japan coming up in June, and he's now talking about buying equipment for his stream. Expensive equipment. My money for the trip has been put away for a month, and he still hasn't started saving for it. I'm afraid that he'll spend money on equipment, and our trip will go to ruin. The other night, he said to me happily that he has one dedicated viewer that watches every time he's on. What he doesn't know is that Twitch counts you as a viewer when you start the stream, so the follower he's talking about is himself. I just really didn't have the heart to tell him because I know how embarrassing that would be. It's become a point of annoyance every time I hear the word streamer. Any advice here, or should I just let this Twitch dream fizzle out without my input? Yeah, it's clear that this is a pipe dream well beyond reach, especially considering the fact that, he's not even really trying. Like, Ninja's popular for a lot of reasons, not just because he plays games. He has a face cam, he has a mic, he talks to his viewers, and he's actually good at the games he plays. Like, I got no interest in a streamer like Ninja whatsoever, but the dude can play Fortnite pretty well, and that's one of the reasons, out of many, why he has so many viewers. Let's go to the comments. Hey, just wanted to chime in as a man who watched his 30-year-old cousin fall down the rabbit hole of video games and mental illness. I'll preface that there's absolutely nothing wrong wanting to decompress after a long day at work, to just sit back and unwind. For some people it's a godsend. Hell, I'll play them with my kiddo sometimes. But when you begin to abuse it, the video games that is, or really anything, that's when the problems start developing. See, for my cousin, he'd just gotten out of a relationship. I'd convinced my cousin that he should invest his money into a gaming PC, not thinking it would literally change his life. First, it started out with him playing these innocent MMOs, Star Wars. It was cool. We bonded, played for a while, and that was that. But then he started obsessing over this new universe. I would call him and he'd be on this game. I'd text him and he'd be on this damn game. After a while, I just stopped talking to him because literally the only thing he'd talk about is that frickin' video game. He would play literally from the time he got up to the time he went to bed. 16 hours a day. 16 hours he would play Star Wars. A few years had passed by and I went to visit him and I was utterly disgusted with what I saw. Frickin' dog crap on the floor, just left there. He was smoking in the house, 2 liters of Mountain Dew overflowing his garbage can. I saw him step over the dog crap while heating up leftover Hot Pockets. Just couldn't believe it. He had developed agoraphobia during this time and absolutely refused to leave the house. It got worse to the point where he wouldn't even go outside to socialise with his friends or go to the store because he'd lose his mind if he was outside for any significant length of time. It got so bad he didn't even attend the funeral of his own grandmother or grandfather who lived 10 minutes from him. It was, and still is, frickin' pathetic. He's a complete loser in my eyes. No job, no kids, doesn't have a social circle outside his virtual avatar and whatever game he's obsessed with, doesn't acknowledge birthdays of family or even send a text out. His only form of income comes from the enablement of his father, but that's not relevant. Video games completely screwed my cousin's mind. I would compare it to drugs, honestly. It can't get that bad. Once someone has reached too far down, it's useless to try to snap them back to reality. Opie replies to that with, "Crap, man, just wow." I'm sorry, Opie, but your explanation about the one viewer your boyfriend has really made me laugh. I think you should just let his dream die on its own, unless it gets really out of hand, which I don't think it has yet. He will likely associate you with his failure if you intervene, so save yourself the grief. My soon-to-be ex-husband is in his late 20s and wants to be an astronaut. He's starting to realise it's not likely considering he has no college whatsoever and is kinda old. So I feel you. Yeah, I feel like that comment before about the cousin was very much an extreme version, but I get the point. Let's go to an update. Some of you may not have been around to read the comments after I posted this, but some more details on the situation that I didn't initially say were posted by me when a Redditor, who has now since deleted her comments for the sake of privacy, related to me and explained how her ex was the same way and seemed to have a video game addiction. Her experience eerily mirrored mine. You can read my responses here. Yesterday after work I had to rush home to deal with some family stuff, so I did not get to sit him down and talk to him besides a 5-minute phone call and passing him at work. Today, however, my path was clear and I was determined to speak to him about this. When I woke up and showered, I checked the Xbox app and saw that he was online 30 minutes ago at 7 AM, which means again that he did not sleep at all. I didn't contact him. His day off was today and he called me at 3 PM to say that he just woke up. I could hear Overwatch in the background and he asked how my day was going, and immediately before I got to respond, very angrily said, "Why the F won't this guy get off Hanzo? He effing sucks." I had a client approaching me and swiftly hung up. I called him back after work when I was walking home and I decided to start with small talk before I got to the subject I was leading to. I didn't even have a chance to start off with the small talk before he asked me why I was slightly out of breath. I said it's because I'm walking through snow up a hill. He said, "It's snowing?" It snowed heavily for quite a few hours. His place is built that you can't enter the hallway to the kitchen and front door without seeing outside. He didn't even look outside of his window at all today and has spent all day in his bedroom playing video games. This snapped me into asking him if he's planning to do anything else with his life besides play video games. He said, "Of course, just not right now." He had not showered or eaten at all today. I asked and he admitted it. I asked him if he thought that was healthy and he said with an edge, "What? Playing video games? Of course. Am I frickin' smoking meth or something?" I clarified on this and just decided to say it. I said I think he has a problem. The skipping work, not sleeping or eating, and overall the pure amount of hours he dedicates to playing them. He then did what most addicts do, got angry and then spun it back on me. He said that I bought him the Xbox in the first place. What the F did you expect me to do with it? And that I've been playing video games long before we were a thing. My Xbox is mostly used as a Netflix machine and to play Overwatch and the Dark Souls trilogy on weekends. I said I do not obsess with them or skip meals to play games, and that I would never bought it for him if I knew this is what it would lead to. He got angry and asked if I just called to harass him. I said I called to speak to him and let him know my thoughts over the past few months. He said I was crazy, that everyone plays video games. And to whoever said that the streaming was just a decoy and an excuse to play video games all day, you were absolutely right. He feels justified in doing exactly that as long as he tells me that there's a goal to it all. I told him that my mind isn't changed and that I think he has a problem and should speak to someone. He said nothing to this. I then said that I don't feel we have anything more to really speak about and that I can't spend my time worrying about him. I feel like I'm going to get hate for this, but I won't budge on it. He is not my child, and I can't force a grown man to eat or go outside. I've done my research and slept on it. Many people PM'd me and commented to tell me their stories of dealing with a loved one with video game addiction, or that they were once in his shoes. This is not a battle I want to be in. He is not the person I met last year. He responded to this with a very mellow voice, that he knows he's been inattentive and would like a chance to make it up to me. He said he wanted to go on a date tomorrow. I declined and he started rambling about how perfect I am for him. I thought the same once. He kept going and said, I'm being ridiculous, and started telling me the things he could be doing instead of playing video games, such as, I'm not a drinker, I don't cheat, etc. I'm sad because before we dated he really was a good friend. I said that I'm almost home and I have to go. He stayed quiet for a while and said okay. The fact that the video game noises didn't stop during the duration of the entire phone call didn't go unnoticed by me. He only lowered the volume, but not enough. I didn't bring it up because I don't think he would get off even if I asked him to. We hung up and that was that. Luckily, I only see him in passing at work, and I'll now make sure to not see him at all. It's a huge building, it isn't hard. I would also like to note that I got some very pleasant PMs calling me an absolute B for not supporting him in playing video games. That I'm going to regret everything when he's a famous streamer, okay? Down to saying that I only care about him skipping work and potentially being fired because I'm in it for his money. I'm prepared for more of those messages for now abandoning him, and I'm still going to Japan. Yeah, those PMs have got to be a piss take. There's no way anyone actually believes that, right? Right? Please tell me I'm right. You made the right decision and handled yourself with decorum. It sucks, but you should be proud of being able to make such a tough decision. It's nice to know that you have that power in your guts. I'm still going to Japan made this for me. You made the right choice, OP. Never let someone else hold you back. He is not my child and I can't force a grown man to eat or go outside. Preach. I can definitely see how she got hate from the type of Redditors who still think that a girlfriend and wife is like a stand-in for their mum, except you also get to have sex with her sometimes. I really don't understand this mindset some people have about Twitch. The people on Twitch aren't just sitting there quietly playing the game, usually. You have to draw people in. You have to market yourself. You have to be your own social media manager. You can't just hit go live and then the viewers go, oh man, a dude playing Overwatch with no mic? Sign me up. One of my best piano students' mums pulled him out of lessons because she wanted him to become a famous streamer and had therefore decided to reallocate the time he spent practicing piano to playing video games because she predicted a better return on her investment. He was 11 and absolutely loved piano too. I was speechless when she gave me her reasoning for quitting lessons. Yep, and that's got to be the most bizarre thing I've read on the internet all week. Talk about brain-dead parenting, my god. What do you guys think about that story? Let me know in the comments. Any streamers here today? Anyway, let's move on to another story. Alrighty, over on Am I the A-hole? This one was written by user Goldwind, and it's titled, Am I the a-hole for crying when my boyfriend let his best friend's wife alter the dish I made for dinner? My boyfriend, 28, and I, 22, met at work 2 years ago. Technically, I was working part-time during undergrad and he was a customer, but after a couple of months we started going out. I really love this man and nothing has happened on this scale before, so I'm very confused about it. My boyfriend has a very tight group of friends. I am well acquainted with them and their girlfriends. One of them, Dave, just got married to Ellie. Ellie is an excellent cook and often hosts dinners, and everyone brings a dessert to those dinners. I'm the youngest in the group, so most times they brush off my requests for contributing or bringing in a dessert. However, the last time I asked Dave and Ellie if they wanted anything extra like wine or some sweet dish for dinner, they said I could bring one of those sweet dishes I make for my boyfriend. I'm Indian, and even though I can't cook as well as my mum, and I'm in a different country for studies, I called my mum up and had her teach me properly how to make specific Bengali sweet, which is my favourite. I had my friends taste it and they said it was great. My boyfriend ate some and said it was excellent. Except last night, I greeted Ellie and kept the dish in the kitchen. When the food was brought out and my boyfriend told everyone I made it, I saw that someone had added cinnamon powder to the sweet. You never have the sweet with cinnamon powder. The dessert tasted like cinnamon and I felt horrible. Though everyone said thank you and it was good, I think my face gave it away, and my boyfriend took me aside and said that Ellie had told him that my sweet looked too white and thought some cinnamon might bring some colour into it. I don't know, I just felt awful and I started to tear up. My boyfriend then defended Ellie and said that his friends already think I'm a child and not to make a big deal of this and we'll talk about it. I told him Ellie asked him first, couldn't he have told her not to add cinnamon to the sweet? He told me he didn't think it was a big deal and asked me to drop the topic on the way home. I didn't text him good night, and this morning he said he was sorry and said my crying made him feel like an awful person. I don't know, now I think I overreacted. Am I the a-hole? Yeah, geez, I'd be getting more upset about the way that your boyfriend treats you after the fact, rather than the actual situation itself. Let's read some comments. Opie responds to a now deleted comment. Thank you. By the way, it was Rosgola. I even had my mum ask our local sweet shop what quantity they use for the sizes of Rosgola. I had managed the sweet to taste a lot like the sweet shop, so that's why I was so upset. If it tasted bad, I wouldn't have cried. Actually, you should have asked right at the table, why is there cinnamon added to your dessert? Not in a shout or complain way to make a scene, but to make it clear your dessert was spoiled, and your contribution was pretty much sabotaged. Don't let other people F up. It's on them, not you. Opie replies, I didn't want to embarrass Ellie or my boyfriend, plus I didn't know who added the cinnamon during dinner and I was too upset to even talk. So your boyfriend doesn't defend you, and apparently all his friends think you're a child, which he also doesn't defend you against. He's also got 6 years on you. Dude's nearing 30. Does your boyfriend often treat you like a child? Does your boyfriend usually defend his friends when they do some freak crap like this? Does your boyfriend defend you at all? He should feel like an awful person. He is an awful boyfriend. Opie replies, I usually just hang around my boyfriend's friends during these dinners. I admit I feel a little left out because they all have been friends for so long, and I'm from a different culture, but they've never said anything outright offensive to me. My boyfriend doesn't treat me like a child. He mentioned before that due to my age, his friends see me like a much younger sister, so I guess that's why he said it. I don't know, I'm kind of rethinking his words. You should really get your aunt to have a round with your boyfriend in Bengal. We don't have girlfriends or housewives, we have queens of the house. He needs to understand the Bengali household hierarchy. Opie says, there is no way I'm going to tell this to my ma. She already has reservations about my boyfriend due to the age gap and the fact that he's not Bengali. But thank you, your comment cracked me up. Boyfriend saying everyone thinks you're a child and him saying we'll talk about this later is him telling you he thinks you're a child. Girl, tell him you're tired of hanging out with judgmental old farts and you're going to go find people younger and cooler to be with. Please don't think this guy hung the moon. Opie makes a little update. Ellie saw the post. My boyfriend texted me to see if it was me. I said yes. He said we needed to talk. For safety purposes, my best friend will be there. I don't know, I never expected my post to blow up. Uh-oh, let's hope he doesn't get mad and do something stupid. Opie updates 2 days later. He said he needed space from the relationship. I think with the way this post blew up and what happened because of a post, I should clear up some things. I never asked if I should leave my boyfriend for this. I asked if this was an overreaction, my crying. But having thousands of people tell me this was racially charged, Ellie wanted power, my boyfriend is crappy, etc., my brain went haywire. Boyfriend called yesterday, and when I got there, his house, with my best friend, Dave and Ellie were there. Ellie was crying, and Dave looked really ticked at me. My boyfriend told me to sit down, and Dave started with how could I make a post that most of the people in the dinner party would recognise and know, and could shame Ellie and my boyfriend. My boyfriend was silent and wouldn't even look at me, and was only shaking his head. It felt like I was a kid being scolded by my parents with my elder sibling disappointed in my actions. That is what I felt, and it looked. I admit it was very spineless of me, but Dane went on for like a minute, and I was just looking at my boyfriend waiting for him to defend me. I asked Ellie, why would she alter my dish? after telling me to bring an Indian dish. She said she thought Indian food would be brown. This woman has more Indian friends than me, and she thinks Indian food is brown. She grew up in the UK for F's sake, and I felt so defeated. The comments, my friends and people around me telling me his friends came first to him, not me. He said he didn't think the sweet was a big deal. I told him I would never let my friend alter something he spent 3 days learning, getting people to taste it, and got his mum involved in. He saw I put a lot of effort into it, so why let her alter it? Why couldn't he ask me? Ellie started to cry and say that she wasn't being racist and she wouldn't know that I put effort into it, and now she couldn't host dinners again. I said I used fake names, so why does it matter? Unless she and Dave went around telling people. Boyfriend told me he didn't expect this from me. My best friend piped up that he expected that my boyfriend would have an effing spine, so I guess they were both disappointed. My, I guess now ex-boyfriend told me in front of Dave and Ellie that he needs some space. I told him to get lost. I don't know what my best friend said to him after that, considering I left the boyfriend's flat. I kinda tripped in the metro station, so now I'm crying on my best friend's couch with an ice pack, while his boyfriend keeps giving me peach snaps and my relationship is toppled over. I wouldn't have stormed out had he looked at me once. He just looked 100% on Dave and Ellie's side, and acted like I was the one with the problem when she caused me hurt. If his friends come first when they cause me hurt, where would I have been if I decided to marry this man? My friends are good to me and are acting like I'm some fragile glass. I even heard my best friend and his brother whispering loudly from the kitchen, and his elder brother wanting to threaten him via Insta DMs. I hate that this has come to this, considering I've always been the mum friend to my friend group. I'm drunk while writing this, so have some grace in the comments. Also, if you'll be an incel like those people in my DMs, telling me I'll never keep a man if I'm this dramatic, please go away. I just thought I needed to update. That's it. Thanks, guys. Edit. Guys, this is the first time I've faced what you'll have been calling racism. To be honest, I didn't see Ellie putting cinnamon into my rosagola as racism. I was just hurt that my days of hard work were ruined. That's it. I understand I need to work on my self-esteem and not let people walk all over me. My best friend's elder brother, he's a doctor and is super ticked at my ex right now because he didn't know what happened, booked an appointment with a therapist he knows, as he thinks I need mental help to not normalize aggressive behavior. I'm sorry for ranting on Reddit, but I guess that's where I am. Both my best friend and I will be going. He had been there for some time before. And the situation is tense at home because Dada, Bestie's brother, didn't know what was happening and tore my friends a new one for not protesting when Dave said crap to me. I still haven't told him it was over a Reddit post and that I'm writing here. I feel awful and I don't know how to tell my mum she was right. I wish I never went out with him. One of my ex's friends from the dinner party asked me if I really left my ex over a dessert, so I guess that's what he told people. It hurts. I know it shouldn't, but it hurts. I think it is partially my fault. I shouldn't have let myself be treated like this. There were signs and I ignored them, and now I think I'll never have another relationship because it feels like a horrible, anxious feeling. And some final comments. The older brother, who is a doctor and is taking the time to make sure that your mental health is okay, sounds like he cares more about you than Dave or anyone at the dinner party. Opie says he does, never doubted that. He's also very mad at me for drinking too much and at his brother for hiding the fact that my ex was an asswipe. I actually am grateful to him and my best friend for being a very strong support system. Completely unrelated thing by the way, but brown rosagolas exist in India too. They're not as sweet as the white kind, so I prefer the white ones. Opie says, I was thinking of making gur rosagolas. They're brown and tastier in my opinion. I think maybe if I had made them, this whole mess wouldn't have happened. I'm really curious what this dessert is that takes 3 days to make. Drop a link to a recipe? Opie says, it does not take 3 days to make. I practiced 3 or 4 times, and because I'm not a professional sweet maker, it took me almost 6 hours all 3 days to properly make the shana, or the correct amount of cardamom to put into the milk for a little cardamom taste. It takes a lot of time, and you can find a lot of YouTube videos on rosagolas. I say date Dada or the best friend. Dada knows how to treat a woman, and he seemed royally ticked at whatever happened to her, going as far as to get her therapy. I've had best friends and their family as mine before, and I know they've never gone that far to help me. Is it just me, or is it a little more than family to get so angry on her behalf and try to help her mental health? Opie says, my best friend is gay and is very much in love with his boyfriend. That's the reason he was in therapy for some time. He's faced homophobia in our home country and needed counselling, and that's why his brother is overprotective of both of us. And Opie answers where she's from. I'm from West Bengal, but not Kolkata, though I have spent a couple of years of my childhood there. I'm from a district that shares a border with Bangladesh, and both sets of my grandparents were from there. One final comment says, it's so ironic that first her boyfriend and then his friends called her childish when they're ganging up on her like a middle school clique. Instead of facing the fact that they were wrong, they reinforced each other's defense that the OP is childish. Even Ellie sprinkling cinnamon on the OP's dessert was treating the OP like a child. And Ellie doesn't even ask the OP, the person who made it. No, she asks the OP's boyfriend, like he's the parent of this precocious child. Ellie's comment that she didn't know the OP had spent so much time on the dessert was pure BS and no excuse. Why would you assume someone just threw a dessert together? It's not like the Rosagolas were made out of Twinkies and ice cream, and that still wouldn't have been an excuse. It wasn't up to her to decide a dessert looked too white. Oh, the irony. But if, in her ignorance, she did, she should have known better than to throw some cinnamon on it. Cinnamon doesn't go well with every sweet. It seems malicious. The OP's ex-boyfriend and his friends are barely 6 years older than the OP. That doesn't make them wise and mature. In this instance, they were more immature than the OP. And all this nonsense about her being childish is a common racist trope. Of course, that group will never admit it. What a bunch of childish idiots. Hard to disagree with that comment. What do you guys think about this story? Let me know down below. Otherwise, we're going to move on to another one. Okay, jumping back over to relationship advice. This one was written by a throwaway account, and it's titled, My boyfriend's little brother creeps me out, but my boyfriend isn't taking it seriously. I don't know what to do. Hi, I'm not really sure how to handle this situation and would appreciate some advice. I, 23 female, have been with my boyfriend, 26, for almost 3 years, and we live together. Recently, his parents were arrested. I'd rather not go into the details, and as a result, his little brother, 11, has had to move in with us. I understand the situation is complicated, and my boyfriend didn't really have a choice, obviously. He couldn't just leave his brother with nowhere to go. The thing is, I find his little brother creepy, and I feel horrible even saying that. I know he's a kid and he's gone through a traumatic experience, but some of the things he does makes me really uncomfortable. For instance, he stares at me a lot, like almost all the time when we're in the same room. I'll catch him just watching me, and it's unsettling. He also has this habit of walking into our bedroom without knocking, especially when my boyfriend is out. I've told him multiple times that he needs to knock, but he either ignores it or just doesn't care. He will shower and use the bathroom with the door wide open, clearly so everyone can see him when walking past, even though I've told him he needs to keep the door closed when he's in there. One time, I'd just gotten out of the shower and was in my towel when I walked into the bedroom, and he was just standing there, staring at me. I asked him what he was doing, and he didn't even answer, just kept staring before finally walking away. I brought this up to my boyfriend, and he brushed it off, saying his brother is probably just adjusting to everything and doesn't mean any harm. I lent him my laptop because he said he needed it for homework, and when I got it back it was completely filled with porn. Like he had downloaded porn, it was in the search history. I told my boyfriend he needed to speak with him, but my boyfriend says it's normal for boys his age. He just told me to clear the search history and delete what he downloaded. But he's not being normal. He's weirding me out, and I feel bad even saying it. I get that this kid is dealing with a lot. Losing his parents like that is traumatic, but at the same time, I feel like my feelings are being dismissed. My boyfriend says I'm overreacting, but I honestly feel really uncomfortable in my own home now. I even find myself avoiding being alone with his brother because it just feels weird. I don't know if I'm overreacting. Like, I understand giving some leeway because of everything that's happened in his life, but he's really weirding me out. Any advice on how to handle this would be really appreciated. Yeah, no, that is not normal for a boy of his age, nor should it be brushed aside as such like the boyfriend's doing here. This kid needs some serious help ASAP, otherwise he's going to be messed up for the rest of his life. Let's go to the comments. Get a lock for the door, get that kid in therapy, and start discussing things like boundaries and healthy relationships, what they are and what they mean. Close the door on him in the bathroom and eventually it will click. He's probably not talking because he just went through some hellish trauma. Allow yourself, your boyfriend, and the brother some grace for this adjustment period. You could also consider living separately for a while if it's in your best interest. Just take care of yourself, and you got this. This kid sounds like he really needs therapy. This is way beyond what you should be getting advice online for. I know he's just a kid now, but what about a few years from now? This behaviour is not normal. None of what you describe is even close to normal for a boy his age. Therapy, and it might take a while to find a good therapist, is really your only option. This kid has serious issues and needs to be in therapy, like now. It's super concerning that your boyfriend isn't taking it seriously and is dismissing your feelings. He's undoubtedly feeling really overwhelmed right now, but that's no reason to put so much of this on you. In my opinion, you need to put your foot down and tell your boyfriend that if he won't take it seriously and get his brother help, that you don't feel safe and comfortable in the home and you're leaving. Make it clear you're not saying it's me or your brother, it's everyone's mental health. I'm not sure anyone has mentioned this yet, but some of his behaviours indicate sexual trauma or child abuse. Being hypersexual, doing age-inappropriate things, not understanding physical boundaries, and seeking porn at 11 years of age are all indicators that this child has witnessed, experienced, or been exposed to things that were inappropriate. Your boyfriend may be jaded because he came from the same household, but he better wake up, get his head screwed on straight, and take this seriously. Allowing an 11-year-old to knowingly have access to porn is considered sexual abuse and child endangerment in some places. I understand your feelings, they're valid. Something is off with this child. However, before you jump straight to fearing him, try to put his behaviour into perspective and look at things from a different point of view. Your boyfriend took guardianship of him. He needs to start acting like a guardian and start talking to his brother like an adult talks to a child. This child needs boundaries, and he needs to know that his behaviour is unacceptable. Your boyfriend needs to tell him that when he uses the restroom or showers, the door remains closed. He needs to know it's unacceptable behaviour to search for porn. If he can't be trusted with a computer, he will not be allowed to use the computer, or will only be permitted to do so under one of your supervision. This child needs therapy ASAP. You and your boyfriend need guidance and assistance. If DCS or a similar agency is involved, reach out and ask for help for this child, and ask what you can do to get him help. Yeah, great comment with some great points there. Okay, let's go to an update. Hiya guys, I wanted to give you all an update on my post from about 6 weeks ago. It's the only other post on my profile if you haven't seen it. But for a really brief TLDR, my boyfriend's parents were arrested, his 11-year-old brother Avery came to live with us. He was doing a lot of behaviours that made me feel uncomfortable and unsettled. First and foremost, thank you all for sending me the love, advice and well wishes. A lot of you guys pointed out that my boyfriend, Caleb, seemed to be overwhelmed and was just sticking his head in the sand. And honestly, yeah. I sat him down a little while after I posted here and we spoke about his brother and everything going on, and he just started crying to me. He's cried in front of me maybe twice before, so I knew he was really feeling it. He said he was really sorry for the way he'd been acting, and that he was just feeling so stressed that he was just pushing everything down and away. He agreed that Avery's behaviours were unacceptable and that I told him he needed to have a firm conversation with Avery about boundaries, or I just wouldn't be able to live with them much longer. Caleb said he would enforce a change of rules, and then he started sobbing, went grey and started hyperventilating. I was seriously concerned and confused about what was happening. He said he needed to tell me something. I was comforting him and trying to calm him down, and he told me he was a victim of pretty extreme CSA from his dad, and he thought Avery probably was as well, which we later found out was true. That explained a lot, why Avery had no awareness of boundaries, why he was displaying these weirdly sexual behaviours, why we had such low contact with his parents before all of this. But I met his parents, met them multiple times. Yeah, we had low contact with them, but I met them. I'd been to their house. They just seemed like normal people, nice people. They weren't creepy or scary or weird. I was really shocked at everything Caleb told me. Caleb had been hiding it for so many years, and he felt so ashamed that he hadn't reported it sooner. He said he was really hoping that the abuse hadn't also happened to Avery, and so I think he was trying so hard to ignore any signs that he had.
but said he felt responsible because he never reported his dad, which meant the abuse could continue. But I told him none of this was his fault. He has no blame in him being abused or Avery being abused. We sought advice on what to do. We reported what Caleb had said to the police and to social services. Both Avery and Caleb were interviewed, but we haven't heard much back from the police about anything that might happen next. They said it could be a long process if they managed to bring any charges at all. Social services started giving us some more support. Avery has been behaving a lot better since. He's been listening to boundaries more. He's actually changed a lot in the short time since I posted here last. He's come out a bit more as a pretty charming and charismatic boy, even though if I'm totally honest, he's still a little weird, but maybe that's to be expected after having the life he had. I got him into Scouts and he's made a pack of really close friends who have even come over a few times. He's been getting on well with school, although they said he's only KS1 level work, but I'm sure he'll catch up in time. And even if not, it's not the end of the world. Ah, damn, that's sad. I really didn't want that to be the case, but all the signs were pointing to it, I guess. Let's read some final comments. So what the frick did the parents go to jail for if it wasn't this? I hope they're also helping the younger brother develop his own boundaries and understand how abusers isolate their victims, etc., to avoid the chance of him being essayed by someone else. Everyone thinks child molesters have horns and fangs and scary claws and are easily identifiable. No, most wear khakis and button-down shirts and go to church and go to work and look just like your parents or your next-door neighbour. My ex-husband assaulted my daughter during his visitation when she was 9. I say my daughter because I worked with CPS to dissolve his rights, like off the birth certificate and all. His trial and everything took 1.5 years and it was a nightmare, because how you can talk to your kid in that case is so gated because it could affect memories and testimony. We have great therapists, yes, multiple for her, for me, for my partner. Group therapy, individual therapy, and it seems okay sometimes. Then boom, she's waking up in the middle of the night panicked and having dark thoughts. Therapy is a must for this kid and the whole family to not only help them all heal, but so they know what signs to watch out for, what behaviour is expected, and what is worrying. Might seem okay sometimes, but you cannot be complacent. It's all part of the grieving process and this crap comes in waves. I hope they can heal and come out okay. Yeah, here. Alright guys, that's the end of that story. We're going to wrap that one up there and move on to another one. Alrighty, jumping over to Petty Revenge to liven things up a bit. This one was written by user Canadian Skeptic A, and it's titled, You Won't Change Your Phone Number? Challenge Accepted. Christine used to have my phone number 3+ years ago. Clearly she did not want the baggage in her life to follow the new number. Debt collectors, old flames, male and female. She was prolific if nothing else, and others. I can understand this, and Christine, I hope your new life is better today. Debt collectors gave up pretty quickly. I've not heard from one of those for 2 years now. Some of the old flames were very persistent, but eventually gave up as well. The last call or text from her past lovers was 1 year-ish ago. The big challenge was family, personal appointments, mostly text confirmations, why to confirm, no to cancel, from doctors, hairdressers, nails, etc., and her employer. I still get the odd call and text from family that can't understand why Christine didn't share her new details. Sorry, I can't help you understand her motivations. As the calls and texts would come in, I explained it's not her number anymore, please get her to update her details. Normal stuff for someone changing their number. People would say, thanks, we'll get her to update. Over time, as this continued, I started getting frustrated. I cited HIPAA to medical and became a bit of a nuisance to others. That helped a bit, but largely there was no change. As personal appointments kept coming in more than 1 year later, enough was enough. I accepted the challenge of forcing change. I ignored confirmation messages until the day before, when the last confirmation typically gets sent out. I cancelled everything. Gynecologist, cancel. Hair appointment, cancel. Lawyer app, cancel. If they call to confirm, sorry, Christine can't make it anymore. Slowly, she started changing her number. No one wants appointments they make getting cancelled after waiting for weeks or months. Good luck getting in again in any reasonable time frame. The best was just over 1 year in, I got a text from her boss. He wanted her to come in early for a special meeting the next day. I did the only reasonable thing and politely quit for her. The next day I got a very terse text from her boss saying how unprofessional, unkind, not funny, etc. that my text was. My response? Get Christine to effing change her number. I then got a very expletive-filled text from Christine. My response? Change your number or I will keep cancelling all your appointments. At that point, I don't think she realised how her appointments were getting cancelled. A second, even more expletive-filled text followed. I lolled in response. Guess what? No more personal appointments. Still the occasional family member though. How lazy can you be? Yeah, exactly. How lazy can you be? Christine's obviously pushing the boundaries here. Like seriously, your boss is still texting your old number? How can she not see how detrimental that is to her career? Anyway guys, we're going to end on that note. Looks like she learned her lesson. Alright, well that's it from me today. I hope you guys enjoyed those stories. Thanks for making it to the end, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a good day. Cheers.